Daly, welcome to Necessity versus Commodity. I am really honored actually and very privileged to have you jump on here. Your company, Undeniable Closer. I joined your VIP a couple months back when you launched that. I did that because I've been following you, Hunter, Sam, for 2 years or so, and I wanted to really support you in that. And then I took a leap about 30 days later, and so I've been in UCM now for I think 5 weeks, and you guys have truly blown me away. And when you and I DM'd through Facebook talking about it, I basically just said, "Hey, just send me a link. Let's do this thing." And then when my first call with Hunter, I met with him. That was the first time him and I actually met face to face. And I told him, "Hey, I'm not your normal rep. I'm not someone I'm just getting the remote sales space. I actually have two offers right now. One's a partnership. I've had my own brick and mortar business. I've had my online high ticket offer. I've done high ticket sales. I've sold things 10, 20, 30K. So I'm not you guys' average." He's like, "Well, what are you here for?" And I'm like, "Well, you guys provide something that the network, that the remote sales space doesn't really provide. I don't see a lot of, especially the most important thing, which is a new rep getting in the space and building their skills, number one, personally, brand wise, sales skills wise, and how to really navigate it." I had a post about I don't know, a couple of weeks back that I kind of talked about. I've been working a job for about 35 years. I've never had one job that it didn't come from my network. Every job I've ever taken was from somebody I knew or somebody knew me. And it's one thing that you guys really help people with is how to grow that network quick. And so, you guys provide such an amazing service, and you have so many clients that have been in the space for 3-6 months, haven't made a dollar, haven't got an offer. They're with you guys for a week. All of a sudden they have 5 offers or taking one, and within 30 days are normally making 5 to 10K and start to actually live the life that they dreamed of when they started, in this journey. So tell me a little bit about how you started actually Undeniable Closer and kind of your reason behind it.
Yeah, so I mean, it probably circles back to when I first started in remote sales, and I kind of bought into all the stuff that we all kind of learned to not be true, the 10K in 21 days and one skill, and this is all you need, and it's attractive. I had not to go too far back, but I had read Tim Ferriss' 4 Hour Work Week a long time ago and got introduced to this whole new world. And then I kind of went down the rabbit hole of make money online and all that stuff. And nothing really fit. As anybody who knows me knows, I can barely turn on this computer. It's amazing that I got onto this call today. Tech-wise, I'm a zero. So the digital side of digital nomad was always the issue for me. And then everything else seemed like, very technical or big investment, e-commerce, affiliate marketing, all seemed like stuff that seemed miles away from me. And then this idea of, a computer and a mouthpiece. And I'm like, I've been a mouthpiece my whole life. I can talk. That attracted me, and blindly jumped in, started traveling, got into it, and then reality hit and I didn't get the results. And by the time I realized that I'd kind of been sold some snake oil, I was in Korea and the other side of the world, and I'm just going broke. I figured, a month to make 10K. I was 4 months in and I'd barely made anything. And I was living off ramen noodles, wondering, am I going to be homeless in a foreign country? And so I just decided, hey, I've been through some tough times in my past. I'm going to make this work. I decided the best thing to do was shove everything aside and to just start back at zero-based thinking, knowing what I know now, what's not working for me. And I identified that, hey, I'm spending a lot of time on these job applications and I'm not seeing these quality, I'm not even seeing the jobs for 6 figures, let alone getting them. And this cold outreach, I'm doing 40 a day and it's not working. And this start from the bottom and work your way up, I don't have time for that. And those were kind of the 3 principles that I said, all right, well, in a stupid way, I thought, well, the opposite of failure is success. And so the opposite of what I'm doing right now. If I do the opposite, maybe I'll land there. And luckily it worked out. And I developed some strategies that you've learned and know now as top-down networking and U Inc. and all these strategies, and was able to do 40K a month basically for 4.5 years. So where that leads me to is, it wasn't like I made little shifts in the training. I had to do the opposite of what I was being taught and what I was being sold to even get the results. And so I always had this kind of spite or this kind of angst towards that system, but kind of forgot about it for a while. And then nearing the end of my career and reaching financial freedom, I kind of had that, is this all there is? What's next moment? And I remember having a recruiting business and talking to someone, and it just clicked again that they reminded me of exactly what I was like when I first started, and they were telling me the same things. And I took another look at the landscape, and when I started, there was basically 2 offers, and then all of a sudden now there's 100, 200 different offers, and it's all the same stuff. And so I got reinvigorated and thought, what if I take what I've learned and take my own strategies and take that opposite and present it to the market, and then kind of overarch the idea of what happens if you care more about student success than company growth. And I opened up thinking, small case study, 5 people, and 55 people signed up, and the rest is history. That was about 2.5 years ago. It's been quite a ride.
Quite a ride. And, again, following you for a couple of years, I mean, when I first started in the online space, it's because I was looking at not having just my brick and mortar business pay the bills. I didn't want to be tied down and have to have $25,000 come in just to keep the lights on the doors open, and to have that time freedom. And I know a lot of people look at the remote sales that, like you said, they're kind of sold this, hey, 30 days, 60 days in, you're going to be put on an offer. You're going to be making 20K a month, working 4 hours a day from whatever beach you want, total time and life freedom. And you and I both know that's not true, right? It's the same thing as the marketing you see out there of, hey, we'll book you 100 leads every single month from an agency. And that doesn't mean success. And I think that's been one of the biggest problems over the last 2-3 years. Once COVID hit, so many people started working from home, and you started seeing stuff about the remote sales space, high ticket space, and people were like, oh my gosh, I can make 20K a month working at the beach. I'm already working from home. Everyone knows about Zoom now. And so we've seen a big influx, and that's a lot of people that have been left like a fish basically on land, just flipping around and dying. They end up going back to their 9-to-5 job. And I think you fill a really unique role there. There's sales offers out there. You can hire coaches for every part of sales, but nobody's doing the professional development, the personal development, and learning how to land the jobs. Because you know as well as I do, good jobs aren't posted on job boards, right? So when you see a post, hey, make 10K a month, we're hiring 5 closers, blah, 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 blah. That means each closer is making 10K a month. That's 50K in commissions paid out. That's essentially means that business has to make $500,000 a month to even make that work. And they've never even broke 100K a month, right? Because they've also been sold the bill of goods. Hey, if you put a sales rep in your business or a setter, magically your business is going to turn around. We both know it's not right. And so you've had amazing success with people that have just come into the space, or people that have failed in the space for the last 6-12 months trying to figure it out, and then they end up finally finding you, join you. What's the biggest catalyst to you seeing someone be able to turn around basically this career path and choice of them with such a short amount of time? And like, they've struggled for 6 months. How is it within 2 weeks or 30 days they're actually getting their dream job? What do you think the secret sauce is there?
Yeah, I think about that often, and in the last 7 years, that's what I've been obsessed with. What's the difference maker? What is the actual difference maker? Because the marketing is always what they say it is buy more training, but what is it actually? Like, take all the offers and let's study people and say, why do good people not make money, and why do these people make money, and what are the difference makers? And what I've seen is, of course, there's skill involved, of course, but I didn't add additional skill when I was making 1,100 to when I was making 40K a month. It wasn't like I was 30 times better, right? If anything, I found it easier to sell then. So a baseline level of skill is important. Of course, you need to be able to communicate. I do think there's transferable skills. I don't think you have to go through sales training to get those skills. I think there's other ways. If you have the money, great. But I really feel like the opportunity that's being missed is in strategy. And I think skill is not enough in this competitive market, because now you have everybody coming out of the same training. I mean, everybody I talk to has the same training in and around the same skill level, but there's a big variance in their income potential. And
Agreed.
so what I looked at was, again, back to that kind of job applicant, I felt like I was being, I wouldn't say disrespected because it wasn't blatant, but not respected or not appreciated or not seen. And so, which makes sense. I mean, job applicants are a dime a dozen, and they're a chore in someone's
Yeah.
mind, you know, oh, we got to sift through these. So you're getting ruled out because of time zone, or because of accents, or because I'm from Canada, or because I don't have a million sold in this or that. And I just started thinking, like, who do business owners respect? Because that's what I'm trying to earn first. If I have the respect, then I felt like if I can get in front of the right people and not wait in line, that I can probably, you know, have this kind of conversation with the business owner and see eye to eye, and they could see something in me. Because I felt like I had the characteristics, I felt like I had the mindset, but I
Yeah.
was missing that in. And so I just started racking my brain of like, who do business owners respect? And I started thinking, like, you never hear a business owner say, oh, let's fly 5 applicants out to Vegas and have a good time. You know, that doesn't
Yep.
exist. But you always hear them rubbing shoulders with other business owners, and that's who they respect, and that's who they share masterminds with and go to events with. And so that was kind of the starting point, was what if I operated this as a business, my career as a business, and showed up like a business owner? It's very hard to disrespect someone who uses your model and
Correct.
does things and uses your success principles. And so that was where U Inc. came from, was the idea of operating my career like a business and using the organic strategies to get noticed. Because again, if you use a business owner's strategies, it's very hard for them to disrespect their own strategies. And that was kind of the end. And so I think strategy is lacking. I don't think sending a bunch of cold outreach messages is a strategy. I don't think sending a bunch of intro messages or job applications is a strategy. I think it's a Hail Mary. And
Yep.
so what we've done is built, based on success principles, organic marketing strategies for closing career. And I don't think anybody else is doing that. And that's why we're able to generate, because really, like an interview or a job opportunity is a lead, and I'm selling my service of sales. And so we build closer pipelines for themselves, so they have multiple opportunities very quickly, instead of apply, wait, interview, wait, apply, wait, didn't work out, back to the drawing board. So we're building the funnel quite large, instead of that linear approach that most people use.
Yeah. And there was a huge nugget you kind of dropped there, you know, the U Inc. part. That made sense to me right when I started following you. I'm like, oh, this guy gets it, right? Like, I started off in fitness 25 years ago, and you're in it was a Gold's Gym, very large facility. There were 10 other personal trainers that were there. They hired 6 of us all at the same time. And sadly, I see a lot of businesses do this. They hire 4 or 5 closers all at one time, and knowing that a bunch of them are going to quit really fast. And I absolutely, I despise that take. And it's one of the reasons why you guys do such a good job of helping your students become a necessity in business owners' eyes, rather than just a commodity of just, hey, just this is a nurse closer and setter that's going to be with me for 3 weeks. They're going to quit. They're not going to bring anything. But I learned very quickly as a personal trainer, I had to self-brand myself to everybody in that gym. Within 6 months, I went from just starting to have a full calendar, basically training like 70 hours a week. And there were other trainers that came up to me that had been there for years, and like, dude, how are you full already? I've been here for years and I'm scraping by. And so I started kind of explaining, hey, this is why I do things. When I'm here at the floor, I'm going up, I'm shaking people's hands, introducing myself, giving tips. When I'm working with my client's my number one focus. And on the amount of people that came to me saying, hey, Scott, I want to work with you because I see when you're with a client, you're actually teaching them, guiding them. It's your focus. And I was able to translate those skills into the remote sales or into online business really quick. You're teaching that to people. And I think that's really amazing. It's hard. And people, you bring up the U Inc. part. A lot of the sales reps coming in right now, they're just so used to just a corporate job. They don't understand the importance of, hey, you need to build yourself up. So I think that's a really amazing thing that you guys are doing there. You add in yours and Hunter strategies for networking, and that's a complete game changer.
Yeah. No, we're very lucky. I mean, I'm extremely blessed to have the team that we have. And when I brought in networking to this industry 2.5 years ago, no one was talking about it, and we got laughed off the floor. And then consistently, people, like, what I've found is, when I first started, it was the overpromise, the dream, the 21 days, the 7-minute abs. That was big in marketing. Just promise the world and then have guarantees, and more people will buy the guarantee than refund. That was kind of the realm of digital marketing, was just sell, say whatever you need to say. And then something weird happened a couple of years back, which was almost the anti-approach of that, which was telling closers, you need to be a setter for 6 months. You need to do this. You're entitled if you think you should do that. And it almost like went the total opposite direction. And I was like, wait a second, that's not what I'm saying either. I'm saying you get to choose what you want, but you have to build that. And so I found a middle ground where if someone comes in and says, I want to be a closer and I want to do this, I want to do that, I'll communicate that this is going to be more difficult, right? But this is how we're going to lay it out. And if you can face more rejection and know that every time that you have a restriction, it lowers the market, right? Like, if you want to make 20K, you're ruling out 80% of the companies right off the bat. Yeah. But there's still, all we need is one opportunity. So as long as people are communicating that, I don't think you have to have restrictions. Recruiters are always going to tell you you're entitled if you don't take their opportunities. Of course, I've done recruiting. It's frustrating. You're constantly having to re-up, and the business doesn't like the salesperson doesn't like the business, and it's a frustrating job. I get that, but you're communicating these to individuals that you have no idea who they are and how they're determined. And so I think a big part for us, again, having the support system we have, where Hunter has taken these ideas and then really went into the micro of, detail by detail. He's the best at that, and the teaching background really helps. I'm more the spitfire. I kind of go in full preacher mode and get people fired up, and there's some strategy there as well, but Hunter being able to lay those down, and then John being our mindset coach, being able to support the things that come up, the underbelly, and the idea to say skill is all you need. When I see people struggling with self-sabotage and limiting beliefs and the idea that they're not worth it, I don't care how much skill you have, if you don't feel worth it, or you're letting fear take over, it's not going to work. And so having that trifecta, I think, again, I'm extremely blessed to have the best team in the space and have that support. It allows me to be able to do what I do well, knowing that they have my back in the things that they do really well.
I'm going to name drop somebody real quick when you just kind of bringing up that point. So Rachel just won your award for UCM Student of the Week, right?
Yeah.
And she's an amazing person, and professionally, personally, all of that. I think she started UCM right before I did, not too far ahead of me. And we connected. We met the first time. We were messaging back and forth. I was sending her stuff on different things for mindset, and then seeing her on John's calls, like you said, with the mindset stuff. The complete shift of person she's become in like the last 6 weeks has been tremendous to see. And without that mindset, people aren't in a good place, right? And that's going to show up on a call. That's going to show up when you're interviewing. That's going to show up the way that people see you online. Like it's a very
huge
a piece that's missed by a lot of people, and it's why some of your people have such amazing success and are able to really rise above the rest, because people now see them as, oh my gosh, I need to follow this person online. They're giving great information. Wow, they're holding themselves to this level of a standard. Business owners are going to see that as well. Now they see that person as, I need to make a space for this person on my offer. I wasn't planning on looking for another closer. but I need to bring this person in. And that's a powerful position to really be in. So, just watching someone like that came in at the same time I did has been a really cool thing. So congratulations to you, Hunter, John, and her. She's putting in the work, right? Like that's a huge thing.
Yeah, and sorry
Yeah, go
jump
ahead.
in.
Go ahead.
I think it's really important in that when I went to other training programs, it was this idea of, we've all seen it before, this mindset module. And basically it's, it was usually a sales trainer that has no background in mindset, no background in psychology or anything like that. And it's go, 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 grit, confidence, sell or be sold type mentality. And I never thought of that as mindset. I thought, when I was kind of doing the idea of, who am I going to bring in, I almost wanted to bring in someone that had no background in sales and a non-salesperson. And then I met John and I was like, this is the person, because he doesn't have that sales background, but he has an amazing energy and an amazing understanding and commitment to himself and amazing self-awareness. And I don't know, you have to check for a pulse if you don't come off a call with John and feel invigorated.
Agreed.
To me, that's important. But again, not having that commitment to sales is the number one thing. He's allowed to go in his own space of nurturing and understanding these imposter syndromes from a different angle, that not everything is about, well, why are we spending this hour if it's not to sell more, right? Like there's more to life than this. A lot of us got into this as a vehicle, and I was never this person. Even when I was performing at a high level, I wasn't thinking about what percentage am I, this obsession with top 1%, top 10%. I'm making enough to become financially free. Beyond that, I could give a shit where I rank on the systems. And I never thought of myself as a career closer or any of these things. So knowing that there's an outside world, I think John brings that freshness to it that most people don't get with your traditional sales trainer, because everything revolves around how do we get more PIFs and these, what I call PIF junkies, right? Where they live and die by their commission. And there's so much more to life than that.
There is 100%. And it's one thing, me personally, I've been in personal development myself just for 20 plus years. It was a huge part of working with people that are trying to lose 50 pounds or 100 pounds, have never, you need that piece to help them change. And even though when I hop on like one of John's Wednesday morning calls, they impact me in a very positive way, right? And the great thing is watching other people that maybe haven't been introduced to what he's talking about, and that invigorates me too. Like that's one reason why I love being a coach. It's one reason why I love doing remote sales, going through conversation with people and watch that light bulb moment where they're like, oh my gosh, I have control over my life and I can take it right now if I want, and watch them make the decision. I'm taking action. Like I love that as coach at doing that part. And same thing on a sales call. It's just so profound. And so he's an amazing asset for you. One of the things, again, me jumping into remote sales with my own high ticket offer 7-8 years ago, I think I spent about $150,000+ just on course material and gurus to learn how to be successful online, to realize it all failed. And it's not that some of the processes failed or I failed, didn't take action. Some of the pieces I learned have helped me become extremely successful. It just, those things weren't successful for me. One thing I see in the industry right now is, and I'm sure you've seen, especially over the last 2 to 3 years, the flooded market in every industry of all of these coaches. And how do you pick out the right one, if whatever you're trying to find, and someone especially brand new to the space? And I think that's where a lot of reps get lost. They're going to these really bad offers. And that I hate. I hear bad offer. And why I hate that. And I want to get your point of view on this, because a lot of these sales reps, they want to make $30,000, $40,000 a month. So the only good offer is a company actually providing that. Well, there's not that many of them out there, let's be honest, right? And so if you don't have the potential to make $8,000, hey, I'm only stuck at 5, that's a crap offer, blah, 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 and they won't take it, rather than going, hey, this is a company that's growing. If I hop in with this company and crush it for them, that's going to provide them more money, scale up. I don't see a whole lot of communication between sales reps and business owners, because business owners have treated sales reps like crap. Now the good sales reps are like, dude, I can command whatever, treating business owners back like crap. And we're kind of seeing a change going on right now. Have you seen that change? And what do you see kind of helping maybe solve some of the horrible lingo about good offer, bad offer, and where a rep should choose? Because I think most reps should probably be on 2 accounts. I mean, that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, yeah, I go back and forth, and I obviously have strong opinions, but it's so situational, and I agree with you. I think we have to be careful. I think it all starts with communication, and we have to be careful, um, and be mindful of the situation. And business owners are people just like us, and if you find out their stories, they hated their 9 to 5, and they branched off and they started a business very similar to what we did, and they built
Right.
that business, let's say 30K a month. That's significant. Is it enough to make the money I want to make on it? No. But the idea that that's a bad business or a bad offer, or that's laughable. I mean, think about how many people outside of this little bubble that we're in, do you know, that are making 30K a month? That
Agreed.
is a victory for any single business owner. I don't care who they are. And so we have to be mindful that just because someone can't supply you or facilitate your desired outcome does not make them a failure by any means. That's ridiculous. I always kind of nip that in the bud when a student's like, kind of laughing. And
Yep.
again, UCM students are notoriously hard to place, and I take a little bit of pride in that, because when I started out, people were taking these 2K, 3K a month, but they were being told it's 10K. So I think we all just need to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit, and I think salespeople need to communicate with other salespeople. I think that's a very transparent view, and that gives us the competitive advantage. UCM, we always treat it like a team sport where everybody else is playing individual. So having that honest conversation without the judgment, right? If I want to make 10K or 20K a month, I'm free to choose my offer. I love the freedom of business.
Yep.
Just like a business owner can look at me and say, I don't like your face, and they don't have to hire me. I believe in that true freedom. And I think it starts to get very sticky if we start to remove those freedoms, or say, well, business owners should have to work with someone here and there. I have my own opinions, and I share those opinions, but those opinions are not regulatory body. Those opinions are not, I feel like there's some amazing salespeople with accents that are getting turned down. And I made a post about it. And then people are saying, no, it should be illegal. No, you're taking it too far. This is my opinion. That business owner should be able to run the business that they want and hire the people that they want. That's the freedom of business, just like it's our freedom to turn down any offer and say, I can say, I want to take inbound leads only from Detroit if I want to.
Yep.
Doesn't mean that there's going to be businesses that can support that, but I have the freedom to make my own career choices. Where I think there's a problem is this judgment, when especially I started noticing it when pipelines started building up, and now I do believe there's too many pipelines. I think there's some really good ones, but I think there's too many. And I think there's some people that couldn't cut it in the space, and it's attractive from the outside. I've been on the recruiting side. I know it's not attractive once you get in it.
Yep. Agreed.
It's a tough gig, and I respect anybody who does it. But I think the frustrations start to boil over on both sides. And instead of proactively communicating it and taking accountability, I think it's a he said, she said type game. And I think we just have to be mindful that looking at what resources I have available to me. If I have a lot of time, if I have a nest egg and I have a lot of past performance, then I could be a lot more selective. But there's a difference between selective and entitled on both sides. And so I kind of see both sides as a business owner, as a recruiter, and as a closer. I can kind of see both arguments. I can see the frustrations. But I think having more conversations like this, and having more connections between business owners and salespeople, and having kind of town hall meetings and saying, hey, this is what business owners or recruiters are getting frustrated, and salespeople, this is what's happening on our side and why we're frustrated. And I think just kind of pulling down the curtain would be beneficial for all sides. I think instead of trying to trick an A player into taking your offer, just, hey, it's right now we're a B offer, but we are scaling,
Yep,
or right now we're at this point, but here's our plans. And
exactly.
I think a little bit of transparency goes a long way in the space, but I don't think there's a perfect answer or a one size fits all. And I think more people are realizing that, hey, my dream offer might be your nightmare and vice versa.
Yep.
And that's where I see the power of strategic alliances in UCM and what we've leveraged a lot here.
Yep.
I think some people look at it and say, oh, is this just some networking group? But as someone who's inside, you can see the benefit of it when you follow the strategies and get multiple offers, and you take one and you pass the 4 on to other students, and we get one person in a $5 million a month company, and a couple months later there's 26 people in that company. You can see those benefits. But I think collaborative, transparent communication, I mean, those are some of the core values of UCM, and that's where I see, if we're going to continue, this is an amazing industry. It changed my life forever.
Agreed.
I want to be a positive change in this space in the future, and I think transparency is something that's needed more than regulatory.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more, and I really appreciate that, you and I kind of see the same view there. And, as an example, just a little nugget for anybody else out there, the last offer I was on was offer for 10, 20, or 30K for basically a done for you service. So, and I had a 15% commission on there, but it wasn't gonna be a high volume one. And I knew that really it was gonna be about 3 to 4 sales a month. And there were 2 months there where I brought on 5 people each month back to back, and it actually started affecting fulfillment. That's not fair to those clients either, right? And so to make the type of money that I wanted to at that time in my life, there was another offer that I knew, and it was a 9K offer. I actually got $1,000 per sale, but I was in reality going to take 2, maybe 3 sales calls a week, probably close 3 people a month. And that was a bridge to get me where I wanted to go, with 2 really good offers with lower, closing, bringing people on. And I think if some people looked at it that way of going, hey, the potential in this offer is really perfect for 50% of what I want. Now I need to go find another one. And I think that could be a really huge thing. And you bringing up the transparency, and I know on your job board Facebook page, it's one of the things where people will post, and, I've commented like, hey, you didn't give any details. Like, what are your current closers doing? And so that transparency is huge. And I think some of the closers out there need to be asking their questions, just like they know bad marketing out there when they see it.
Yeah.
How do you not know bad job postings, or if you're in an interview, the right questions to be asking? And I think an owner needs to be a lot more upfront with that. And that was one thing when I had my own business. Every employee I had, here's where we're at. Here's what I can offer you right now. Here's where I can take your career. Are you okay with these expectations?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the expectations are the big problem.
Yeah. It's a tough one. And I understand why people do it. Obviously, there's revenue involved, but when I started UCM, I gave up the recruiting business, even though it was a profitable business. And the reason being is I felt like it would put me in a sticky situation. And I feel like it's tough. The reason why there's a flood of people who don't know the right questions to ask on an interview, and don't know what a great offer looks like, and don't know what a bad job post is, because they're coming through these programs that also get incentivized for placement. And so I understand the revenue benefit of it. You get a business owner, you get a closer, and you get the recruiting, you get a triple dip revenue wise. But all of a sudden it becomes a tough situation, because to maximize profit, you need the closer to take your offers. And typically the businesses that are coming to those companies are usually more entry level. And again, there's nothing wrong with entry level business. But I believe that an entry level business should be looking at having either consultants that know the business structure or a salesperson with a lot of wisdom and experience that can do maybe a profit share, maybe a higher commission, that
Yep.
knows how to build sales process. I believe when you take a new closer and a new business owner, it's a recipe for disaster, and no fault to either person. It's just someone has to know what's going on behind the scenes and why. And new closers don't know why the no-show rate isn't where it is, or why the leads are unqualified. I didn't know those things when I was starting out. It took me a long time to develop those things. And then
Exactly.
I offered that as a value add, but as a separate offer. And so I think it gets dicey when you have these entry level programs that are introducing people to sales and then putting guaranteed placement. I've never, you know how I feel about guaranteed placement, and
Yep.
then charging business owners for recruiting. And then the idea that the person you sell to in closing and the person you sell to in business and the recruiting is all going to form a perfect line. I've just seen it fail so many times.
Yep.
And I don't know how to make that work. I would rather just say my commitment is to salespeople, and that's what I know to do. And if I had a business offer, it would be much separate from that, you know. So that makes it tough, and that's why I think a lot of people don't know what questions to ask and don't know what a good offer looks like, because it doesn't benefit their trainer to tell them, because their offers don't look like that.
Yep. And what you just said there shows the integrity of who you are. And I've got a big issue that too, me start my own online business from scratch and being in different groups of masterminds and different programs to help do that. I saw how many other people were getting in, starting their business and falling flat on their face, right? And just struggling. And it could be multiple things. It could be the ad, it could be the offer and the price point, right? Like, get rid of your dad bod and trying to sell that for 10K is not a very successful plan, right? Let's be honest there. Now, the other thing is, like you said, hey, you've got a new business, trying to figure out marketing, even to see if the offer is even viable to even scale and grow. Having a brand new business owner like that, brand new marketing that's not dialed in, and then you're going to put a brand new salesperson in there and expect that to be like the recipe for success. That's the biggest recipe for disaster as ever. And you can't convince like a super high level sales rep who's been doing it forever to go to somebody, hey, this is a brand new business. It might fail in 6 weeks. We're going to put you on that. Right. No. So as a business owner, they can't expect a really good rep coming in, even though that's what they're told is going to happen. So again, there's so much just murkiness out there because of a lot of marketing, and rather, like you said earlier too, of just taking a step back and look at why are things failing? Okay. What's the opposite there? And it's one of the reasons what really attracted me to you and your group when I first started following a couple of years ago, because you were kind of like a shining light that was really kind of telling people, hey, whether you work with me or not, I don't care, but pay attention to what's going on around you. Open up your eyes and really see what's happening, because that's a game changer. If you don't have clarity, like, you're going to be lost and you're going to be taken advantage of big time. And I think a lot of sales reps too have to remember that's the way a lot of the people that they're talking to on the phone feel exactly. Dude, there's so much garbage out there. I don't know what to do. How do I trust you? And if you're just like everybody else, just reading off a script, good luck, right? Because they've been on the phone with somebody using the exact same script as you have, asking the exact same questions. And if you just seem like you're an AI robot asking the same question and not even listening, good luck. You're not going to be able to close people very good at all, because no one's going to trust you. I don't care how good your skills are. And that's been a big problem I've seen out there, why so many people have failed too. They're promised one thing, and really the delivery and the fulfillment in the back end, for whatever reason, whether it's a business owner or a sales rep, has been completely, I guess, 80% lied to with 20% factual evidence, and hoping that 1 in a million stuff actually works out for them both to be successful at the same time. And it doesn't really work.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of empathy for people that fall for it, and I understand it, but I hold both sides accountable. I know that I talk a lot about the problems that I see with the offers out there because I'm on that side. But I also think there needs some critical thought, and there needs some ownership. I think, when there's a level of desperation, the magic beans start to look good, and the story starts to sound good. And That's why guaranteed placement sounds really good. But when you really strip it down and think about it for a second, what if I'm a psychopath? You can guarantee me placement. What if I don't show up?
Yep.
Like, what if I don't do anything? I can guarantee placement. What quality is guaranteed placement going to be? How can they do that logically? It's
Yep.
the same way if you challenge the guarantees and say, what is the true deliverables here? If you look behind the facade, I think the biggest issue is people need to stop buying easy and start buying support with difficulty. And that's the difference maker that I've seen, this obsession, and marketing preys off convenience and ease. This, people always, isn't it hard? Isn't it difficult? I'm like, absolutely. It's supposed to be. That's why there's an opportunity to make 40K a month. Like, it's not supposed to be easy. It's not supposed to be convenient. It's supposed to be difficult and challenging.
Yep.
So anyone that's selling you the ease, you're becoming prey, and they are predators. And you have to be careful what you wish for, right? And where at the same time, I tell everybody when I talk to them, it's not going to be easy, but it can be simple. And that's a big differentiator.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I can make it simple. You follow the process. It's still going to have challenges. It's still going to be a mind fuck sometimes. There's still going to be difficulties, but I'm going to support you through those difficulties. I'm not going to make it easy for you. I'm going to make it simple, and I'm going to support you so that you can get through the difficulty. And that, to me, is the difference maker. The people who are looking for ease in this industry are the ones that drop off whenever it gets hard, and it will get hard.
Yeah.
And people will always prey on those people.
Yeah. Agreed. We've talked a lot about what you do with UCM and students. One thing we haven't touched base on, and I know you do talk about this, but it's not really on the forefront. But hey, guess what? You do sales training.
Yes, I do.
Right.
I do.
And so, we see a lot of your students where they might have been on, they're making $1,000 a month, and maybe it's a bad offer, maybe it's not. I don't want to use any of the excuses, but you are teaching the people, you're helping with the mindset, looking at their career as a business, you're helping them network. These things are all successful, help them land a good job. But it's also not a coincidence that when those students get a job,
Yeah,
they have really quick success within that company.
Mhm.
And I know that there's a couple companies out there that talk about, hey, every person that's on my top 5 in the leaderboard is from UCM. That's why I hire people from UCM, right?
Yeah.
Because of that. So you do have sales training, but it's not really talked about. Why don't you talk about it as much? Is it because trying to separate from other people, or what? Because I don't think people understand the importance of your sales training as well.
Yeah, I think for a long time, it's, again, you kind of get known for, like, there's a buzz outside of UCM that I can't control, and the things that we do differently, I think, get the forefront, right? Like, then they're the networking guys, and they're the ones that can get you the 6-figure opportunity. And I understand that and appreciate that. That's what we've become known for, and I accept that. I think a while back, I kind of picked the battle of sales skill is not all you need. And that became this idea of like, oh, JD doesn't care about sales skill, which is, I mean, just thinking about it again, logically, I understand why sales trainers pick that battle, and it's an easy one to kind of fight. But I've sold $30 million in my career. To say that I don't care or don't understand sales skills is ridiculous. I mean, I've obsessed over skill development, but I think the difference that gets confusing for people is I believe in sales skill development. I don't necessarily believe that you need day one sales training. And I don't believe that giving someone a script and some role plays is the best way to develop their skills. And so I think that it's kind of written off because we don't do classic objection handling or tonality training, that I somehow don't care about sales skill, which couldn't be further from the truth. For me, I've always found the most development in my skill when I really moved the needle was not when I learned someone else's methodology or someone else's training. I've went through all the training. I know what's out there, and it's all versions of something that was created in the 80s anyway. Let's be real. I've seen very little, shout out to Michael Dunleavy, because love it or hate it, it's something different that I haven't seen. And that's what I've been dying for. But I guess my point is, I look at skill development, and memorizing a script, to me, what skill is there? Memorization? To me, I'm looking at what are the skills, the underbelly of what we do? Well, it's communication and influence. It's facilitating decisions. It's understanding human psychology and behavior. If our job is to facilitate a good decision, why do some people make suboptimal decisions? We should understand that. We should understand how the brain works and biases work. So I'm looking at these foundational things that not only improve sales, but improve every aspect of our lives. And to the naked eye, they might not be able to see the connection of communication improvement, or we did a call the other day on observation. Like, these titles are not your classic sales training titles. They're not tonality. I actually have a training called Fuck Tonality, because yeah, I don't know if anyone noticed, but we have tonality built into us. When I'm excited, I sound excited. When I'm concerned, I sound concerned. When I'm frustrated, I have all that built in. So if I'm genuine, I don't need fake sales training tonality. The only reason you need that is because you paid $7,000 for someone to tell you what to say, and then you sound like a robot. So then you need to pay the next thing to figure out how to sound, and then you need to remove the I just don't believe in any of that. I think that it works for some people some of the time. But for me, I believe in a more situational selling. I believe that we have to equip ourselves and salespeople with independent thought and ability to adjust and ability to communicate. And I'm more of let's build thinkers in this industry instead of a bunch of people that follow, these sales daddy issues of like, who's going to tell me what to think and what to say, so I can understand why we're not in that category, and I have no problem with it. I was just talking to someone earlier, and I don't really consider myself a sales trainer, but I look at myself as a sales career mentor, and skill is an important aspect. So I help people develop the skills, and I think the skill development is much more important than the sales training itself.
Yep. In my career, when I first started, I think the first sales course I bought was like 8K, and it was from a top gentleman who was on Tony Robbins. He was Tony Robbins' sales director. And there were parts I really enjoyed about it, and there were other parts I absolutely hated. There's some other top names out there. I paid $8,000 to $15,000 for their courses. I've done that with multiple people. The reason why I did it was not so I could get their script and figure out what questions they're asking, or like you said, like tonality. It was to understand frameworks better. And I knew personally where I needed to improve with my understanding of actual sales call and, persuasion, influence, the psychology, everything that you're talking about. And I knew, hey, I wanted to work on this area. So that's what I'm investing. Majority of sales reps out there don't have that level of understanding. And so when they're investing in something like that, the stuff that it's so over their head, they really think like it's kind of like, again, if I use fitness example, like I'd have clients come to me thinking that I had some sort of personal trainer pixie dust I could sprinkle in your head, you magically lost 40 pounds. So I'm not holding some secret here, right? And so I think a lot of people buy into the hype marketing rather than looking at themselves, which again kind of goes back to your beginning of struggling. Where am I failing? What do I need to be successful? And so myself and a lot of reps just buy into that market rather than look honest, like, is it because I don't know how to be a human and seriously concerned about you? One of the things when every sales call I'm on, I think of really two different people. I think of, is my mom sitting across from me? Am I treating it like I would and care about this person like I would my mother? And am I having a conversation with this person like they're my best friend who just slammed a bottle of tequila and told me they're going to go hop in their car and go drive 100 miles? I'm going to care deeply about that person. I'm going to help that person make the best decision so they're not dead tonight. Now, do I think every person I talk to is going to be dead if they don't purchase from me? No, but it gives me that space of having the questions and the caring which I'm naturally empathetic with everybody I meet anyway. Some of the God-given skills I've had, which allows me to be a good coach, a good sales rep, because I can have a real caring conversation. And like you said, naturally, they can tell that I'm actually interested. Like, JD, are you okay? Like, I didn't need to learn how to tonality ask you if you're okay, right? Like, to your point. But understanding the real frameworks and the power behind it, and going through, some of your training, and you've got a lot of it. You've got a lot of sales training there. So I picked out pieces. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to get this part and this part. And I know you just did one Tuesday morning that I wasn't able to go to, and I'm waiting for the replay to go up because I want to hit that one on the information ones. And I've seen people post about it. So like, I'm like kind of salivating to get to that one. And so and I think that's an important thing too, with, I guess, each sales rep, and to what we're kind of talking here, to make them understand is the script is not going to make you successful. Having the knowledge and being yourself is what's going to make you successful. And there's a lot of different ways to do sales. There's a lot of ways to do it incorrectly. And that's the problem. Most people are doing something that's so out of their comfort zone that nobody would buy anything from them. You could say, here's a Lamborghini that's $250,000, it's yours free, and people wouldn't still buy from them because the person's so nervous and out of their comfort zone. And doing something that's not conducive or in alignment with who they are. And I think your sales training does that a lot for a lot of the people, whether they realize it or not.
Yeah. I mean, I have to also know my audience. I think a lot of people reverse engineer what they want to sell and then figure out the marketing to sell it. For me, I'm looking at who our audience is, and 95% of our students come to us after a program like that. So what am I going to do? Reteach them and say, no, my script is better than their script? No, I want to evolve it. And I want to say, okay, you have this framework, and how does that fit with your company? And then what are the things off the radar that we don't know? And I'm not here to reteach something that someone already knows. I want to facilitate their success. And so I don't care what that is, if it's personal, if it's professional, if it's a new job, if it's, I'm struggling to onboard. If that's, to me, the opportunity as a true mentor is to fill in the gaps, not to have an ego and say, you have to learn my way and just kind of reteach the same things. It's where are the gaps, and what do you have now, and how can we play to your strengths, and how can I fortify some of your weaknesses, and what transformation can we go through over the next 4 months? And each person is different. And so having that small, close-knit community and being able to get involved and seeing what benefits each person. And some people come in and they're very confident in their selling, and they don't even want to learn anything new, and that's fine, right? What can we do to impact them? And so I wanted to create a community first and fill in the gaps that are being left by other people in the space, and do the best I can to have a positive impact before I hang up the close.
Growing that community. I want to say your communities is one of the very, very, very limited amount that I've actually been a part of, where there's so much value given for free. And I'm not just talking about like you, Hunter, and Sam. I'm talking about like everybody that's currently in UCM, people that have been in UCM, that were in 2 years ago and are still providing tons of value. There aren't many groups and communities like that also, they have each other's back 100%. And everybody wants to meet each other. And I think that's a testament to you, of the leader, to putting that out there. And I think that's a very powerful thing, that what attracts a lot of people to you guys and makes successful. I wish a lot of people knew what it was truly like behind. And I think that's why it's really cool that you did the VIP offer. It's $50 a month. Come on, like, who's not doing that? Like, it's ridiculous, but it gives a peek behind the scenes. And I think a lot of people could really have their lives changed by just, hey, let's have a talk. Let's see what this is like. Stop struggling, and as horribly cheesy marketing that sounds, it really is. Like, you guys are putting people in the best position to win when they're just walking in this space, or if they're failing. You guys are one of the best options for them, truly. And I can say that 100%, because I see it firsthand being behind you too.
I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I've been extremely fortunate, and I'm trying to leave this industry the way I wish I found it. And I'm trying to have an impact, a positive impact on some amazing people. And I've been blessed and fortunate that other people have seen that vision and bought into the core values. And I have the world's greatest team, and I would be totally lost without them. And the community inspires. Sometimes I want to rip my hair out, and then I see someone like Rachel with a big win, or someone that, you know, thought that their accent was going to get in the way, and then now all of a sudden they're doing 10K or 15K. I mean, I think there's those wins always come in at those times where you're like, geez, what am I doing here? And it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows. It's a tough business model. I understand why people put profit first. I do. I think it would be much easier to put a normal course out there and slap some sales training together and throw it out and run some ads and fulfillment at 10% or success rate at 15%. I understand the attraction to it. I understand it's the quickest way to 7 figures, and I couldn't even imagine running this business at 7 figures, but you know, I've been blessed to have an amazing career and not have to use this business for profit and do it the right way and the scenic route. And I'm just so blessed that and thankful that so many people have bought in, and the support has been amazing inside in UCM and outside. So many people have messaged me and said, you know, I wish I could join, but I can't, but I love what you guys do, or I'm at the tail end of my career and I support you, or other recruiters sending people our way. I love it all. And I love this space. And I know I talk a lot of shit sometimes, but I really do believe this is an amazing opportunity for someone, and it's been an amazing opportunity for me. And I just hopefully want to leave a positive impact before, you know, I walk away.
Well, and you have, and I know every single person that's been through UCM. I mean, their whole life, they're gonna remember making the choice with you was life changing, and that's a very. I hope you realize that every single day, how many people that they know that the moment they said yes to you, they said yes to themselves, and that was a life changing moment for them. The last week, to kind of wrap things up here, I know you've been really working your butt off behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything new popping up that you want to discuss? You want to keep some stuff tight to the chest still?
I mean, it's still expanding for us. It's always about fulfillment first. So we're looking at some interesting and fun ways to continue support.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people raising their hand. How can I stay in the community longer without having to kind of rebuy the whole thing? And so extending opportunities to stay as part of the community at different levels. We're going to really put a lot of work into the alumni status. We have VIP, which $49 a month. I'm going live every week. We have Q&As. We have a lot of training in there. And I've been really blending the situational selling with some high-level psychology and kind of putting a different spin on sales. We have a lot in the works, but the biggest thing is fulfillment. We're getting people more opportunities. I'm trying to form more strategic alliances with some of the top 7 and 8 figure a month companies to have direct access for UCM. So more opportunities, more training, more support, faster results, and just a stronger community. That's really what I'm working towards. And I think that will always expand. I want to continue to just share my experiences and make it more accessible for everyone. But same, I mean, we have everything on YouTube, and I'm getting better on Instagram, going live more in the group. But obviously, you know, that's where I do most of my work is in the Facebook group. So that's probably the best place for people to check out as things start to pop up.
Yeah, I don't know how, if one of my biggest pet peeves is fulfillment in the industry. And I think you're one of the people that gives A plus fulfillment on the back end. It's gonna be fun to watch what you guys are implementing to make it even better. Like I don't know how much more you can make it better, without bringing on like a staff of 10, which, again, talks about, hey, now we have to worry about scaling and, and you don't want to always worry about profits. It's not always about that. It's one thing I love about your integrity in that aspect, because you and I look kind of the same way. The first offer I had, which was reverse rheumatoid arthritis naturally, I was told I should be selling at 15,000. I didn't have a problem to tell someone it was 15,000, but I preferred to help 3 people at 6, 7,000 rather than just one person at 15. It just made more sense to me to build my business that way, because it wasn't always just about the profit. It was about, am I doing right to every person I'm talking to? They have a problem. I'm going to solve that problem. Do I make it so it's unreachable for a large amount of people and only let certain people in? No. And it's one of the things I love about you guys' offer too. It is a very easy decision for anybody that's going to reach out to you guys and go, hey, can I jump into UCM? I mean, it's one of the closest no-brainer offers I've seen out there.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you to say. We would appreciate it.
Going forward, you kind of said, hey, when you kind of leave the industry, do you have a time frame? Like, you're not going to jump out of the industry by the end of the year or anything like that. I know that.
No,
I mean, do you have like a
no.
5-year plan, 10-year plan? Is there?
Yeah, I'm always for a new challenge. I don't have any immediate plan. I think probably somewhere in the next 4 years, I'll be around 40. I think, yeah, once I've shared, I've done almost 1,000 hours of recorded training. I'll have a library and maybe we'll chop that up. Maybe there'll be a JD hologram, but I've worked very hard in my career for 17 years, and I always try and do 2 or 3 weeks of work every week. That's a big principle of mine. And sometimes sleepless nights, sometimes I don't remember the last weekend I wasn't working. So I think family and that next chapter of my life, but no time soon, probably next 4 or 5 years, I would say. But once I feel like, we already have an amazing community. I've said everything that I can say, and I keep coming up with new training somehow, but at some point I'll have said everything that I need to say, and I'll leave this industry to the next generation, and hopefully there's enough of us out there that we can kind of continue to pass the torch, and we band together, and I just see so much promise in the people that have already been through UCM, and it's only getting better. So that community is much bigger than me and will continue on without me. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but no time soon.
Well, nothing but more blessings and success to you, because I can't wait to see where this kind of goes. And there's a lot of reasons why I started this podcast. One of the main reasons is to kind of really get people to get a better view on what's kind of going on out there. But the other part is, you kind of brought it up of, hey, follow me on YouTube or Instagram, kind of starting to do that. Your genius in your writing is amazing. My written content sucks. I do way better having discussions. And so don't feel like you need to do videos. If that's not your genius, man, don't do it. I think you should. I'm going to kind of challenge you to continue doing that, because I think it'll get better. But having conversations, I always do way better in that. The typing part, I feel is something. And one of the skill sets I was thinking about you learning this year was better copywriting. And I'm like, nope, it's not a skill I want to really develop right now. So I'm going to use what my ability is in conversation live to live. So, if you ever want to hop back on and discuss stuff and, go from there and do it this way and help you with that, like, I'm here for you too. So, but
thanks, Scott.
I can't thank you enough for joining and hopping on.
Of course, anytime. So, thanks for having me.
Is there anything else you'd want to say before we wrap up? We covered a lot there today.
Yeah, no, I think we're good. Honestly, I think the biggest things is, connect with each other. Don't live in a bubble. Reach out to me. I nerd out about this stuff. So I may not get to every request, but it's, pop in. If I don't respond, leave a comment on one of my posts saying, hey, I'm in your inbox somewhere. It's a bit of a C, but connect with the people around you. This is, even though it's remote, even though it's online, it's a community, and get to know your neighbors, get to know the people around you. And then when you remember what it was like to be struggling and to be insecure and to have that imposter syndrome, and cheer someone else along. I think that to me is a real opportunity. I've seen what the collaboration holds, but yeah, as far as anything from me, just reach out, say hello. If there's anything you need, let me know. But be good to each other, and connect with each other and support each other. And we are much better as a unit than we are as a bunch of individuals. So that's my
Couldn't agree
words
more.
of party.
Well, appreciate it again. Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks, Scott. Take care.